Welcome, my lovely audience, to a new adventure on my YouTube channel exclusively. As you see on the photo, these are the trail stats. It was a very tough, dangerous adventure. Bear with me, I'm gonna tell you the full story. The main plan was to reach here and ascend through the red line, as you see it, to the top to test the quality of the snow, then decide if I'm gonna climb this mountain through this route or not. I left everything in the car, my backpack, within it, of course, food and water and clothes and everything I brought with me. And I started going upward. Here at the top of the red line, when I reached and tested the snow, it was, of course, icy snow. A crazy idea popped on my mind. I just continue going upward, especially when looking back and seeing that I crossed a good distance. So why waste energy going back down to bring my backpack and then all the way upward again? It was an illogical, spontaneous decision that had no basis, of course, but at that moment I had much confidence and the boost of energy and enthusiasm that I can go climb this mountain in like 1 hour maximum and then descend it through the same way, the Al-Bahsa route, as you see it, directly upward. Although the conditions were so bad and against any possibility of success, only danger with only trekking poles in my hands and a normal hiking boots with nothing with me. I just took the decision and continued upward through this Al-Bahsa red line to the top of the mountain, Mount Sannine Red Cross summit. Here you can see the quality of snow through my shoes also. There's no depth at all. This angle is of course more vertical than it seems. %60 upward ascending. I took this photo while barely being able to stand. It was very slippery here, but it was the main photo that I liked most. I managed with a lot of courage and skills took over to continue reaching to this spot here, seeing a mixture of rocks and stones. I took a good breath. From this point I switched right, that means directly to Mount Sannine Red Cross. At Mount Sannine Red Cross and Virgin Mary summit, at this moment I was very happy. I forgot everything, all the difficulties and the risky part of my ascent, and that I had nothing with me except trekking poles. So I started taking quickly photos and videos. Approximately it took around 8 minutes. Of course, at this point, I already knew that it's impossible to descend the same way I ascended. So I was thinking quickly what the easiest possible one, following the 4x4 Jeep route downward to the known army checkpoint. In a normal day, it's an easy path, while in such snowy all over, you can barely see anything but only deep snow, icy snow, and mixture rocks and stones, and like you see in the photos. But I had no other option. I said I'm gonna go down slowly and try to find the path on the spot. Crazy climb today, alpine style, at Mount Sannine. No crampons, no gaiters, no snowshoes. Crazy. We're still at Mount Sannine. At Mount Sannine, going down. Crazy day. No backpack. No snowshoe. No ice packs. Nothing. No crampons. Crazy. Well, new experiences. No water. Of course, I don't suppose that. But go on before something. Maybe later I'll talk about it. At the end of this video, I took the left side path, zigzagging through the unknown. I must have went to the right. I could have reached the checkpoint from above. I thought it's just few kilometers and I'm gonna reach the checkpoint. I didn't imagine at all that what will happen by just a single decision taking the left side. And then downward also I took the left side. It seems I have an addiction with the left side. This is the last photo my phone captured before the battery emptied. And for the coincidence and also bad luck, at this spot exactly the whole story could have changed. If I just took the right side to continue only 1 kilometer, I could have reached to the army checkpoint. This was the spot of the photo on the map, as you see on the left side while you're watching. At the end of it, 1 kilometer only to the left is the army checkpoint. But instead, I took the left path, that means the right side of the map, and went through the unknown. At this spot, before my last photo, I remember well how I saw a big block of ice to the right side, and then I saw behind it like a house. I thought at that moment that it was the army checkpoint, and it's one of the houses that the army have. And while I was climbing slowly on the ice, I started licking it, and it was of course mixture of a little snow also, but it's like that kind of like ice and snow with some shapes, like you can even eat it. But of course I just took maybe like 50 to 100 milliliters because I had no other option. That made me feel some hope and some relaxation, that I had some water that can save my life at least for some more minutes or an hour. After that, I found that house that I saw. Beside it there was like 3 water tanks. They were full of water, like at least 500 liters. But for my bad luck, again, it was full of dirt and mosquitoes and all that stuff. I couldn't drink even a little bit of it. It was very bad feelings. Also, there was nobody in that house. At that moment, I felt so much down. Here you can see how difficult this mountain, descending it from the top, despite the photo doesn't show the top of it. It was a long distance, as you can imagine it, and you can see the rough terrain already. Comparing the photo to what I remember, how I descended from the top of the mountain to the ridge, it looks very similar to what appears in the red line on the photo. I then climbed on the ridge and walked for some distance on the top of the mountain, on the ridge of the mountain, before looking on my right side and seeing the water factory. And I said there's no easier one than the shortest one, and whatever the rough terrain, sharp vertical descent, I'm just gonna take it, because other than the shortest distance, if I'm gonna go around like zigzag, it's gonna take a lot of time. At that point I was very thirsty, just thinking to go to that factory. I said my only water source is that factory. I'm gonna go and ask the employees, please give me water, and then I'm gonna pay you or something, you know. Here, after the very dangerous descent at the bottom of the valley to the right side, I saw water stream flowing strongly. Honestly, at that moment, I was so happy to see that. I didn't think if it was dirty or not, despite it looked very clean, or at least that's what I hoped. I went down and started drinking. At that moment, 7 to 8 hours passed without drinking any water. At the bottom of the valley, for my luck, I found that stream of water, heavily running, very cold. Was great feeling. Believe me, I can't express it in words. My body also felt so different, like with fresh water, cold one, gave me like some kind of energy boost, despite I didn't yet eat any food. Then after all that scrambling and reaching down to the Berdowni water factory, you can see the guards at the barrier. I asked them if they had some chargers so I can charge my phone. They weren't cooperative with me, didn't believe my story at all. When I told them I was just before some hours at Mount Sannine summit at the Red Cross. I came from there and I descended to this side. They were looking at each other and saying, maybe this guy is a terrorist or something. Maybe he he escaped from jail and came all this way. And then they asked me for my national ID. I told them I have nothing with me. I explained to them what happened quickly, like shortly, that it's all in my car, and my car is at that point. They couldn't believe me at all. Then I told them, thank you. I didn't want to waste any time. I had to just go back to my car that was approximately like 15 kilometers still. At the moment I reached my car, I just opened the door, drank water. After that, I also started eating some of the food that I had in my car. It was already starting to become dark. Everything happens for a reason, like I believe. And the reason this time that I discovered myself more, that how much my body and my mind can stay focused for a long distance and a dozen hours focusing, bearing all the difficulties that came on my way. Do you think that I repeated البحث vertical ascent